Hey there, welcome to Coach's Corner, your inside track to different high school programs throughout the city of Marlboro. I'm your host, Matt Bisaccio, and today we're joined by AMSA girls basketball coach, Bob Manzello. Coach, thanks for hanging out with us.
Thank you for having us.
The Lady Eagles this year, in your first year with them, are 12-8, and you guys have qualified for the Central Mass playoffs where you're going to play Douglas on Wednesday. But before we get to the team or anything that's going on right now, let's talk about you a little bit and get to know you a little bit on a personal level and your history with sports. So, how did you grow up with youth athletics, and how did that lead to you becoming a coach?
Always loved sports. My uncle was a sports writer for the Telegram and Gazette, Nick Manzello. So my family has always been very sports-minded growing up in the city of Worcester. Went to Holy Name High School. Really enjoyed sports there, and just basically I got my first gig as a varsity coach at St. Mary's High School in Worcester. I was a girls varsity basketball coach there. I was there for 6 years, and then went on and I had an opportunity to coach my son at St. Peter Marion, where I was the varsity assistant coach, and it was a great experience having that. And the previous 5 years I've been at Newark High School as the boys varsity basketball coach.
Having a relative in media, was there any type of want to become maybe some member of the press, or did you ever have an interest in doing something like that?
I actually am a photographer by trade, so I did do some photography for the Telegram and Gazette, sports photography. I had some opportunities to photograph a Celtic game and Patriots game and a lot of local sports, UMass and Holy Cross. So
that's great. Now, when you were growing up, was there a favorite coach of yours that you had?
Jeez, I don't know. It'd be hard to say one particular coach. Growing up, Joe Walsh was the coach up at Holy Name High School, and I used to just love his intensity and everything that he brought to the table. But I just had so many coaches. It was just Mike Cimarano was a great baseball coach. So yeah, I'd say Mike and Joe.
Was there one moment that maybe you can remember where you thought to yourself, coaching is something that I want to do?
I all the way growing up, I always loved the idea of it. I went to high school with the kid Dwayne McLean, who went on to Villanova, and I remember watching Rolly Massimino on the sidelines and the great coaches the Big East had back then, Lou Conasecker and just great coaches. Jim Boeheim was actually coaching still back then. So
the beginnings of the Big East.
Yes, yeah. It was great basketball. It was the best basketball in the country. So I remember watching those guys on the sideline and saying that would be something I'd love to do.
You said one of your favorite coaches was very intense when you were going. How do you see yourself? What type of personality do you have as a coach?
When I was coaching boys or girls?
How about, well, then we'll start first with the boys.
No, I would say I'm an intense coach. I get into it, try to stay well prepared, have a game plan, and always want to see that game plan put forth. And I would say I'm a pretty intense coach.
Now, were you able to, coaching boys for so long and now coaching girls, have you had to temper yourself in the way that you approach girls, or is it largely the same?
I would say I tempered it. I would say at St. Mary's when I started and I was coaching girls, I would say I wasn't as intense. Then when I got into boys, I became a little more intense into it. I think you need to do that a little bit to get them to know what you're talking about.
Yeah, right.
And then with the girls, I'm coaching smart girls here, so it's these girls. You don't have to do things more than once or twice, and they pick up on what to get done.
Now, has it taken away? Do you feel like is it taken away from your effectiveness maybe in being able to convey messages, not being able to be as intense as you were before, or is it something that you've been able to?
I think the message still gets out there. I think I'm a pretty good judge of reading the character of these kids, and I think just some kids might need a little bit more prodding, and some of them just really have that intensity and to get it done themselves.
Now, aside from maybe the intense nature of your personality, is there anything about yourself that you want to be able to convey to your players, and something that maybe that you want them to take away from you and their experience?
Well, I would hope that my players would know that I feel I get more out of it than I give to them. I enjoy coaching, so I would hope that they would get that this is someone that loves what he's doing, and he tries to put us in the best position to win. We always have, like I said, a game plan. I always have a scouting report, and I think my players in the past, especially at Newark High School, also really drew off that. I think they saw that they were always well prepared and enjoyed that.
coming back to this year and this team. You guys, like I said, are 12-8. You've qualified for the Central Mass playoffs. Looking back on the season as a whole, what do you think is maybe your biggest strength so far?
I think we're getting better. Again, I came in for a coach that was here, I think, 4 or 5 years before. We did a wonderful job. But, you know, his style might not be my style. So I think that I think the girls have picked up my system, and I think they're getting better every day. We've played teams earlier in the year where we played much better the second time around. Might not have always led to wins, but I still see the improvement, which is exciting.
What about maybe your squad's biggest weakness?
I don't know, tough one. It's a tough one. I love these kids. I really don't see anything as a weakness. A weakness is something I don't think you can overcome. I think anything that we could work on and get better at, that they're able to do that. So I wouldn't say we have a weakness. I think our weakness would be that we weren't getting better or were not able to work on something and understand and do better with it.
Now, like you said, you replaced Dennis Limbo, who was here for a number of years.
Yes.
Was it difficult replacing somebody that had been here for so long? Was it difficult for them to kind of accept you, maybe personally?
I don't know. When I got into Nipmuc, I replaced the guy that was there for 35 years.
So this is a piece of cake, then.
Well, I wouldn't call it a piece of cake, but no, Dennis was well respected. The girls loved him, and yeah, you're replacing somebody who they were fond of. But I think they really warmed up to me. They are certainly joking around and saying things to me that they certainly wouldn't have done the first 4 weeks of practice. So, and I take that as a good thing. We're getting to know each other, but I think we're past that stage now, and now we're just all going for the common goal.
That's great. On Wednesday, you'll be taking on Douglas at Douglas in the 8-9 matchup in the first round. You haven't faced Douglas at all this year, but you have had some common opponents. How do you, as a coach, then prepare your club for a team that they haven't played before?
Well, obviously we have friends in the business, so you know, have had some of my friends. I reached out to them and got some scouting information. But Douglas is a solid team. They're in one of the best conferences in the area. You know, they have to play Sutton twice, Hopedale twice, Whitensville Christian twice. I mean, almost every team in their conference is in the districts also. So, you know, every night, day in, day out, they had tough games. But our conference is pretty tough too. I think we might have one of the best teams in D4 in Monty Tech, who we would end up playing next if we were able to be fortunate enough to beat Douglas. So I think Douglas is a great opponent. Looking through all of the scenarios, I think our game with Douglas is going to be one of the more exciting ones.
Anything in particular that Douglas does that may present an issue for your club?
They shoot the ball very well. They switch up defenses. They have a good big down low. They really mirror us pretty well. I would say that we're pretty close. We shoot the ball well. We have some very good bigs. It's going to be a good game.
Now, I mean, I've played high school sports myself. I'm sure you have too. And there's a big difference between regular season games and playoff games.
Yes.
There's a different intensity, but is that the same thing for a coach? Like in the days leading up to a playoff game, are you spending your time differently doing different things, or is the message to your club a little bit different? Is there like a big speech that you have prepared for them right before, or is it more like this is just another game on our schedule?
No, I think the girls know where we are. I think they know that, especially for my two seniors, Erin and Allison, they know that their next game could be their last game. You know, I think they're great leaders. I think they'll convey that message. But I think the girls, I want them to go in there, play free. We'll go out, do the best we can, and we'll let it fall as it goes.
Oh, that's great. Well, we'll certainly be paying attention to you and your girls as the week progresses, and hopefully we'll be seeing you guys on Saturday in the second round.
That sounds great. Two good days of practice would be wonderful. So.
That's great. All right. Well, thank you very much for joining us. We really appreciate it.
Thank you.
That's going to do it for this episode of Coach's Corner. We'll see you next time.